Hi, I'm Dr. DeFabio and welcome to the Natural Way to Better Health and Wellness. The 21-Day Challenge is a recent lecture I gave on how to purify and cleanse your body in 21 days. It's not just a detox, it's a purification program. There's 2 shows. This is the first edition of the Natural Way show on how to purify your body in 21 days. So you can take the 21-Day Challenge. Start now by watching the show. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We're going to talk about the 21-Day Challenge, how to get your life back. I'm Dr. DeFabio. I'm a chiropractic doctor in town. I'm board certified in chiropractic orthopedics and in sports injury management. I happen to be the chiropractic doctor for Drew University as well, athletics. But tonight we're going to talk about detoxification, purification, and getting your life back in 21 days. First and foremost, I made a slide, a disclaimer. Basically, the class is for educational purposes only. We're going to be talking about my opinions and the opinions of the people who helped me write this. And it's not designed to diagnose your specific conditions or diseases. Before undertaking any of the things we talk about in this program, please discuss it with your healthcare professional. So that's our standard disclaimer. Disclosures, a lot of the standard process did provide me with a lot of the slides this evening, so I wanted to let you know that, okay? Objectives. We're going to talk about detoxification versus purification. There is a difference, and where does that fall in? We're going to understand toxic exposure. Where does toxic exposure come in our environment, and how does it get into our bodies? Then we're going to go into the benefits of cleansing. And what about the effect of weight management and cholesterol and toxins? How do they play together? How to do it in 21 days is the goal tonight, so of course we're going to talk about that. But almost more importantly, we're going to talk about transitioning to a healthy dietary lifestyle after those 21 days. We can do it, we don't want to yo-yo, we want to do it right. So, detoxification versus purification. That's really what we want to talk about tonight, is purification. However, detoxification, well, we all know what that is, right? Detoxification is a quick way to lose 5 pounds. I want to detox, I want to drop 5, okay? It focuses on colon function. It's short term. Oh, I detoxed, I'm done. Then you go back to all your unhealthy lifestyle choices, all right? And it's a patch. We're just patching up. I'm dropping my 5 pounds. I'm getting ready for the high school reunion I got to get ready for, and then you're done. That's the concept of a detox. We're going to take that a little farther. We're going to take it to the next level. We want to talk about purification. Purification, weight loss is less common. It's not the goal, but it's common. People do lose weight when they detox and purify, but it's a secondary benefit. This addresses not just the colon. It addresses the liver. It addresses the kidneys, the lymphatics, your skin, your blood, your lungs, all of the detoxification organs we're going to talk about today. So it's a whole body approach. The goal here is to reset your metabolism. That's the goal for long-term health benefits. It's not a patch, it's a fix. So we take the concepts of detoxification, apply them throughout the full body, ramp it up a little bit, and we make some lifetime changes. Purification, what's the bottom line? It's a detoxification, weight loss, and metabolic support program. So it's a little bit more than dropping a quick 5, all right, which will probably happen, by the way. What are some patient experiences? I started my 21-day detoxification program, and the changes I have experienced are clearer thinking. I was always in a state of overwhelming and felt in a fog. Visible improvement. I lost 14 pounds, most of which was body fat. Before detox, I experienced swelling in my feet, ankles, and hands. After detox, I have little or no swelling even at the end of the day. I have been able to get off 3 prescription drugs. I no longer take Nexium, Ativan for anxiety or Premarin. I have not been to a fast food restaurant in 8 weeks. My cravings are down 95%. Unbelievable. S. Wood. All right, we had another one. Reaching midlife, I knew things had to change, as I was feeling tired and could not take weight off as easily. After 3 weeks, I lost 13 pounds. Oh yeah. Yes, the results were quick, but the best part is the way I feel. I have so much energy. It's not just the diet, it's a new way of life. That's the concept, okay? So let's talk about the problem. Where's going on, all right? How do we become toxic? We want to address that. We also want to talk about where they're found, and more importantly, how can we detoxify? So there's lots of layers in through here, all right? And there's a relationship between toxins, weight management, and cholesterol. But what is that tie? We're going to tie that all together, all right? So first let's talk about where do the toxins come from, all right? We live in a toxic environment. We just do, all right? They're pretty much all over. Air pollution's at an all-time high, all right? On the East Coast, the prevailing jet streams, west to east, we get all the crappy air from the rest of the country. When there was all sorts of coal mining and coal in the Midwest, all that soot was blowing east, all right? So we get all of this, okay? The World Health Organization estimates that 4.6 people die every year directly from the causes attributable to air pollution. That's like secondhand smoke. So it's out there, all right? Environmental toxins. In 1989, the EPA estimated in 1 year, that's like 5 billion pounds of chemicals were either dumped into public sewage or released into the ground, surface waters, or air. Imagine what it is now. Probably a little less, probably, but the problem is, as you're going to see, it's already in the system. It's already in the environment. We're still being exposed to those things, right? Yeah, we're doing all this toxic cleanup, but it's already in the system. It's already in the water. It's already in our air. That's the problem. So, how do they enter the body? All right, so they're out there, all right? They can come from several different ways, all right? Lungs, right? We're just talking about all the airborne stuff. It's going to get into our lungs because we breathe it. We breathe the air. And our lungs are supposed to exchange the oxygen and the carbon dioxide and the nutrients. It's supposed to have those little cilia in your nose to keep the particles out. The bottom line is toxins do get in, okay? And our lungs and our throat and our mouth are mucous membranes. They're very porous, all right? So they're very susceptible. Ever hear of sublingual vitamins? Ever hear of sublingual medication? You put it under your tongue and it goes right into your bloodstream. Guess what? You're breathing, it goes into your mouth, down your throat, it goes right into your bloodstream. So that's how it gets in through the lungs. Digestive tract, well, you eat it, you drink it, you swallow it, okay? It happens. Food additives, soft drinks, pesticides, food coloring. One of the ones I love the best is Flintstones vitamins. Great for kids. Kids need vitamins, right? But they're colored.
Yeah.
And you read the label, and it tells you to avoid taking too many. You know, do not make sure they don't take too many. It was like Children's St. Joseph's aspirin when I was a kid. You know, don't eat too many. They taste too good. All right? So something's wrong here. But food additives and preservatives can be a huge problem. Huge problem. And skin penetration. Our skin is highly porous. You know, what's the largest organ in the body? I'll give you a hint. Your skin. Okay? Highly porous. All right? Perfumes, lotions, hairsprays, all those things that come in through the skin. One of my personal pet peeves is aluminum antiperspirants. Where do you put antiperspirants? Under your arms. Let's use aluminum. Okay, great. What's there? Lymph nodes. What's next to the lymph nodes? Breast tissue. Oh.
Cancer.
Yeah. Now, is that written anywhere? No, but it makes a lot of sense to me not to use aluminum hydroxide or aluminum antiperspirant under your arms. All right? So it's all part of the picture. So that's how we get them in. So it's easy to get them in. That's not the part. That's easy. Okay? So how about internal? Okay? So we know the external ones, but what are we eating? The U.S. allows over 14,000 chemical additives in our food supply. So right out of the box, we're at risk because of our society, our FDA, what they allow. The average American consumes more than 150 pounds of food additives plus 150 pounds of sugar annually. Now, sugar is kind of a different issue in terms of a toxic overload, but we'll talk about how it impairs metabolism in a moment. But it's the food additives. Red dye number 2, you know, making things look good. You know, my protein powder, I didn't realize it, that they're colored to look chocolate. I like chocolate protein powder, it's colored. So guess what? I found one that's not colored. So it's the chocolate flavor, but it doesn't have to be brown. I mean, visually, you kind of want it to be brown. It's got little brown flecks in it, but it's not colored.
Really?
Yeah. So 93% of all Americans have metabolites of chlorophyrus and 98% have remnants of DDT. DDT hasn't been used since the late 70s, early 80s, right? Yet, 98% of us still have it in our body because it's in the food system. The insects got into the birds, got into the next bird, got into the soil, and it just cycles around. So the toxins are out there. This is a pesticide, okay? All right? So it's a pesticide that they use on grains, all right? And it just gets into our food system. The pesticides end up being what's called hormone disruptors. It throws off our hormonal balance. Why are we so concerned? Why do we see so many girls reaching puberty at such a young age today? Hormone disruptors. Chemicals in skin lotions and suntan lotion. It's full of hormone disruptors, let alone toxic exposure, let alone plastics, let alone pesticides. So that's where it all falls into place. That's where we start running into internal toxins getting into our body. So, what do they look like? Well, MSG, monosodium glutamate, it's also called natural flavoring. Oh boy, there's more out there. There's more. Oh my gosh, there's more. It's all over. We'll talk about the relationship with sugar in a moment. Trans fats, everybody knows about trans fats, hydrogenated fats. They drive inflammation, all right? Inflammation drives disease. They're very difficult for the body to digest. High fructose corn syrup has been getting a lot of press lately. Drives a lot of increase in glycemic load, and it creates inflammation. Not a healthy thing in your food chain at all. And of course, other chemicals. I mean, Fruit Loops, man, they taste great. Fruit Loops taste great, but think of all the chemicals that are in there. So it's the preservatives, it's the dyes, then you can take it one step further. It's the pesticides, it's the herbicides. It's all over, and it's a real problem, all right? It's a real problem.
The FDA?
The FDA in America allows a lot of these chemicals, so that's part of the problem. That's one of the problems with a capitalist society. However, we need to take it back. We need to be a little bit more personally responsible about our health. To have the government come in and say, all right, we're going to forbid trans fats in foods anymore. Come on. It's up to us to be personally responsible for our health. And if we want to choose to have the donut and the fries, well, that's our choice. But to mandate we can't because we're going to be healthier, something else will come down the pike that'll create a problem. But essentially, it's an issue. You know, alcohol can be a problem, but red wine in general is not an issue. But we're talking about cleansing, so there are sources of toxins. The bigger problem here is the pesticides and the sulfates they use to preserve it. Chemicals. So what happens when these chemicals get in? They get into our body and it produces problems. However, our body has to metabolize things normally. So every metabolic reaction we have in our body creates an end product. Okay? It's like when you make water. All right? You have two hydrogens floating over here. You have two oxygens floating over here. They come together, they form a molecule of water, H2O. There's one extra oxygen. Okay? It's an end product. It's a waste product. All right? Every metabolic reaction in our body creates an end product. Now, some of those get recycled and are reused, and some are like that extra O, just kind of floating around. That's a metabolic toxin. It's a waste product. End products that cannot be recycled need to be removed because it's considered waste. Okay? This is what they're called free radicals, all right? Or oxidation. All right? If you have, that's one of the big theories now with cholesterol. Your cholesterol becomes oxidized, and that's what gives you more low-density, bad cholesterol, and that's what causes it to stick to your arteries. All right? So we won't want those waste products floating around, being free radicals, and creating problems. And external toxins plus internal toxins, that's where it brings us to today, toxic overload. Now we have a problem. Now that we have some toxic overload, we have to decide how to address it. So it's coming from the external, it's coming from the internal. Some of our food choices, some of the things we can't control, the air we breathe, the clothes we put on, okay? I mean, you try to have as much cotton clothes as possible, but there's polyester, there's synthetics, they're treated with anti-wrinkle and anti-stain, So that's all part of our environment today. So what do we do about it? Toxic overload, it impairs normal metabolism. We touched on that, okay? When you have all these toxins in there, it throws off your body's ability to function. It throws off your hormone levels. It creates dysfunction and, to use a vernacular, dis-ease in the body, all right? We talked about how it disrupts hormones. We see it mostly in children, okay? But I think it happens throughout everybody, okay? Because those estrogenic compounds are exposed to me and they're exposed to everybody, all right? So it's a huge problem. Menopause is a huge issue because of that hormone disruption of pesticides. Huge issue, okay? And it has a widespread impact. It's not just me, it's not just prepubescent girls. It's widespread on all of us, but on all of our organ systems. Because when these toxins are in the body, they get stored. We'll talk about how they get stored, but as they get released, they're floating around looking for a problem. So you got to get them out. You have those metabolic waste problems, you got to get them out. That's the key. And these imbalances, you take these metabolic imbalances, Syndrome X, all right? Syndrome X is you're having difficulty metabolizing sugars. You're getting central obesity. You're getting high blood pressure, right? Plus refined carbohydrates. And then you throw in omega-6 fatty acids, which are pro-inflammatory. There's your perfect disarm for poor health. So you have pro-inflammatory agents of your omega-6 fatty acids, refined carbohydrates, white sugar, white flour, all right, which are also driving inflammation. Then you have an imbalance in your hormonal system in your body to function properly. There's your perfect storm for disease. That's how toxins relate to disease, and that's how inflammation and toxins feed off one another, all right? Because those little chemicals that drive inflammation can attack to any body part. They love to be stored in fat. They love the fats. That's where your body puts them, okay? Yet, on the other hand, they're always there creating a problem. So, is obesity really a problem in the United States? I don't know. We talk about it, but is it a real problem? Well, in 1988, the red here is more than 35% population of that state is obese, okay? So not too bad, all right? White is not available data. Yellow is less than 30%. You know, body fat percentage of up to men really should be 18 to 21. Women can carry about 27% body fat, okay, to be normal. So 30% is upper normal, we'll call it. 30 to 35% is overweight, and more than 35 is considered obese. So those are the numbers, all right? So not bad in 88. So let's flash forward to, let's say 92. A few more red, maybe 20% more red, okay? But, you know, a lot of blue in there, so Republicans are looking good, all right? So what about in 1996? Ooh, baby, no more. We got data on everybody, so that's good, but it's really creeping up, okay? All right? How about 99? Wow. Alaska, what's that, Nevada, New Hampshire? That's about it, 4 states? Yeah. All right? By 2000, the average population in the United States, over 35%, is obese. Yes. And we see it. And a lot of this can be related to pesticides in our brains because it gets into the foods, which are hormone disruptors. And where are most of these grains found? Are in the fast foods. Yeah. So you get those trans fats, you get the omega-6 fatty acids, you get the high sugar, and it all starts to fall into place. So toxic overload, obesity, metabolic syndrome, high cholesterol, inability to digest and metabolize carbohydrates or sugars properly, all starts to tie into place. So let's start to put the toxic puzzle together. You get the buildup. You end up with chronic low-grade inflammation. I've said this before, but if you go to PubMed, which is an online research database for medical research, and you put a disease and you put inflammation, you hit search, I will guarantee you will find at least one resource on that. It's all over today in the research. We know inflammation drives disease. And it's chronic, low-grade inflammation. And those same chemicals that create inflammation can settle into any part of your body, and they like to be stored in fat. And that's where the obesity comes in. They like that, okay? So as you put on body weight, you absorb more toxins, you absorb more toxins, you absorb more toxins, which then drives the hormone disruption, which then drives the imbalance in the hormones, which then feeds off itself, and it's a vicious cycle. And I can't lose weight. I can't get my heart rate up. I can't get my blood sugar down. Why? Because it's feeding off of itself. And that's what the metabolic syndrome ends up being. It's all over today. But the good news is we can do something about it. And what kind of symptoms are you going to expect? If the toxicity and poor diet, what kind of symptoms? Well, you were so toxic, it's hard to see. So let's really look at it. All right? It's going to give you weight gain, fatigue, headaches, joint pain, muscle pain, dysfunction in the hormones. We talked about that. Anxiety, stress, difficulty sleeping, skin reactions, edema. I treat a lot of psoriasis patients, which is going to be the lecture, I think, in March. All right? It's all about getting the toxins to come out through their bowels and their urine and not through their skin. Yeah. Okay? But that's what's happening. But the bottom line is it could be anything. It could be anything. This is just a sample list. It's not a conclusive list. It impacts the body's ability to function properly. And that's the bottom line. That's really the bottom line. So to deal with toxins, the body has three options. And I've talked about a lot of these already. Number one is bury them in body fat. When the toxins get in, the body doesn't like them, so it sacks them away in the fat. So fat stores those toxins. But they can still create problems because they're there. All right? It can also deposit them in the tissues. All right? So not just fat, it could go to muscle, it could go to bone, it could go to your brain, it could go to your liver, it could go to your kidneys, depending on the toxin, depending on the body part, and depending on you. So it could get deposited in the tissues. But lastly, it really wants to remove them. It really does. The body was designed to work properly. It was designed to work by itself. It's designed to handle these things. But it's an overload of the system that creates the problem. And that's what we want to address. It's the long-term ingestion of low level of toxins that leads up to disease, dysfunction, and imbalances. Some people are able to metabolize them better, other people not so well, but it's that long-term exposure that gets us into trouble. Chronic disease and chronic problems. So that's the problem. How do we get rid of the toxins? Through our lymphatic system, our blood, our skin, kidneys, liver, lungs, and colon. That's what everyone thinks. They're all involved. 7 different pathways to help the body cleanse. But of those 7, we can address 4 of them right off the bat, real simply. So let's talk about the solution. So we had a chance to talk about the problem. Now let's talk about the solution. All right? It's to get all these systems working better. That's the solution. All right? So how are we going to do that? With diet. You got to start off with diet. Although there is one article I'm going to show where they didn't change diet at all, and they still got some interesting results. But the bottom line is you got to stop putting the things in and stop reducing your exposure to those external toxins as best you can. All right? And let's face it, a hypoallergenic diet, we'll talk a little bit more about it later, low fat, low sugar, you need to give, I'm going to go back a slide, you need to give these organs, kidneys, liver, lungs, colon, and your whole digestive system a rest. You've got to allow it to shut down. Now, you can't literally shut it down because then you'll be dead, right? But you want it to calm down enough so that it can start to cleanse and heal. So it has to be a very calm, relaxing, gentle diet. So a hypoallergenic diet, my fault, a hypoallergenic diet is key. And herbs, most of them are very good. Some herbs are better than others, okay? Cilantro is great for getting rid of heavy metals. You want to detoxify heavy metals? Cilantro, parsley, it's great. Turmeric, it's great for the liver. So in general, lots of herbs. Ginger, great for the intestines. And water, a ton of water. We're not going to talk about our water supply tonight. But the bottom line is you want filtered water, and we'll leave it at that, okay? But you need to have a lot of water for lots of reasons. Number one, it'll help flush out your kidneys. That's the easiest way to get your kidneys going, all right? But number two, though, if you have enough water in your body, it will help dilute the toxins, it'll help dilute the impurities, it'll help dilute everything so your body can work it through. One of the first things I tell patients who have chronic sinusitis is drink more water, get the mucus secretions loose so it'll come out. If they're all chunky and thick and stick mucus, it's going to be a lot harder to come out than if it's thin mucus. All right? That's water. You got to have rest. If you don't rest, your body can't heal, can't do anything to function at any level, let alone heal and cleanse and purify. And exercise. Exercise is the first thing we want to talk about. And being at the Y, we want to make sure we reinforce exercising. Okay? Exercise gets you to sweat a little bit. Great for opening up the pores in your skin and helping you get out some toxins. So it is great. It also helps stimulate lymphatic circulation. Gets that lymph moving. Okay? So colon detoxification. Let's talk about our other organs of detoxification. Then we're going to go into the program. Okay? Colon detoxification, well, let's get it moving, right? So you got to get the colon moving. Let's get it out of there. Some people are full of it, so you have to just get it out of there. Normal villi, that's what your intestines look like. All those little fingers, if people remember their biology 101, right? They're supposed to be long and smooth, and then these even have little bumps on them, and there's bumps on the bumps. But when the colon's all dysfunctional, that's what it looks like. The villi are disruptive, there's holes in them, bad things get absorbed, other things don't get broken down, there's a lot of sludge in there. So we want to get it to look like this. We have to get things moving, and we have to get it healthy. Kidney detoxification, well, we talked about it. Water, lemon is great, it's a great alkalizer, okay? But you can do more than water. There's all sorts of formulations for cleaning the kidneys too. But look at it, lemon, dandelion, cranberries, cucumber, ginger, right? Turmeric, basic stuff, healthy stuff. As I mentioned to a patient today, all healthy diets are pretty much the same. It's just how you tweak it to get to the goal you want. Liver detoxification, this is a little bit bigger. A key. You get toxins come in, you have phase 1 detoxification that sends it down to the gallbladder to get it into the colon to make water-soluble bile so you can pee it out. Then you have phase 2 detoxification to again send it into the bile. Phase 1 is like wrapping your trash up and bringing it to the curb. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is like the garbage man coming and taking it away. But it's a two-phase process, and they both have to be supported. Very, very, very important. Liver detox. Kidney's important, skin's important, liver's key. Colon gets the poop out, but then you have to make it healthy. But you got to address them all. So how are we going to do this? Well, through a program, but how toxic are you? Well, we can look at your toxicity rating questionnaire. I brought some tonight. You can have some fun. See what your toxic load is. Give you an idea. All right? And what can be achieved if you start to detoxify? All right? Improve circulation. You can get better sleep patterns. Hormone function, right? We get rid of that hormone disruptors, get them out of the body. Less menopausal type symptoms. Enhanced overall health. Increased energy. Improved overall appearance and youthful feel. Skin usually gets much, much better. Okay? Usually gets much, much better. Okay? Even more benefits, improved weight loss, getting those skinny clothes again, better digestion and elimination, less allergies, headaches, joint pain, and muscle pain. Again, the symptoms from the toxins are now no longer around. The SP detoxification program, standard process, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to talk about this after the break. I want to thank everybody for coming this evening. It's been a great, wonderful time to have you here. But just relax. After a short break, we'll come back and we'll finish up the detoxification program, how to apply it in everyday life, and what you can expect from it, and how to transition to regular life. Thanks for your time. I'm Dr. Donald DeFabio.